Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live Better Know a Geekly show. I am your host, Matthew Morris, and I've got a lot of guests with me tonight, a lot of special guests. Now, by show of hands, who has never heard Better Know a Geekly, either one of the recordings I did or was not at GeeklyCon last year, did not go to the live show? So welcome to this. I'm sorry. Please silence your cell phones. So this all came out of what was referred to at the time as sexy talk. I ran a short 5e Dungeons & Dragons game after the first GeeklyCon. I had Frederick Greenleaf on there and Sam Brady were two of the players. And after one of our sessions, we just stayed on the call and just talked for a long time. Fred almost took his dick out on camera. Sam and I talked about a lot of our sexual experiences. It was really great. I learned about his Mormon background. But I really like that feeling, the ability to just openly talk to people, a lot of my friends. And so last year I hosted at the time it was called the Geekly Interview Show, but for copyright reasons I had to change the name. So it became Better Know Geekly, and since last year I've done 12 of them. I've recorded with a lot of the people that are in the room here, well, at least 12 of you. And so I decided to keep the tradition alive, do another live show this year, and then keep doing more of them throughout the year as I have free time, as long as my SoundCloud still works. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my first guest for the evening, returning for their second visit, Gwynn. Gwynn, first off, welcome back to the show. If you have your frequent guest card, I'll stamp that for you now. If not, don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll get to it later. Remember, if you have 3 guest spots, you get a personalized gift from me, perhaps even a signed picture of the Matthew M. Morris of @MatthewMMorris fame.
But I already have one of those.
I have more. I have more from last year. Since you were last on the show, what major life events have occurred in the life of Gwynn?
Not too much has occurred. I've continued on with my schooling.
Mm-hmm. What are you schooling in?
It's machine
Old
tool
school
technology.
Schooling? Machine technology?
Yes. Learning CNC machines, becoming a machinist, lathes, mills, CNC machines.
Outstanding.
Everything.
So, what can you make on those machines? Pretend like I don't know anything about moving parts and stuff. I'm good with bits. I'm not good with engines and mechanical things. Crankshaft.
So one of my last classes was a plastics tooling constructions class. We made basically the molds for one was a soda can lid. We made one for a level for the lathe. So you put it on there, get your tool up to the center, and
I'm all
make
about
sure it's
that.
a level. And we made a couple other things, a keychain.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Now, do you own these machines yourself in your garage, and
I
you
do
just
not.
when you have free time, you just tool around?
I
Tool
wish,
time, Gwynn.
Get me $50,000 and I will.
You know what? You can do a Kickstarter for it, and I will back it. But I cannot back it at that level. So for those of you who don't know how this works, it's more of a dialogue. So I get asked a question, then the guest gets to ask a question. So now I turn it over to Gwynn, who knows how this works and will probably make me feel bad.
Yes, I'm actually prepared this time.
Thank you.
It's great. So my first question. If you were a bear, what type of hat would you wear?
I mean, does it have to be like regionally specific? Like, do I have to say like what kind of bear I am, and then also what kind of hat I would wear?
No.
Okay, because I want to wear a sombrero.
That'd be perfect.
I feel like it's not like just the regular sombreros. I want one of those sombreros that's like got the deep like curves in it, so that you could put like salsa in it, and then at the very top you can put chips. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think you'd be popular with all the campers around.
Oh, everybody loves a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially at camps. But no, well, what kind of bear does it really fit with that? I mean, oh yes. Oh my God, a koala in a sombrero.
That's
Oh my
cute.
God.
Koala's not bear.
It's in the name. It's in the way that you use it. Fantastic. Gwynn, you're a bit of a hair connoisseur, and ideally, if you could wear any hairstyle, what would it be? What color would it be? And how would you flaunt your new do?
Well, I've already gotten my dream because not at one point, through my whole life, I always wanted to have a mohawk, but my parents said never said I could. But I got it. I think I would want it to be a rainbow mohawk, and I would just flaunt it, and everyone would love it.
How tall would you want it to be?
Ideally 5 feet, but I don't think I could manage that.
I mean, outdoors, no problem. Just not in the heat.
And not in my car or anywhere.
Got to get a convertible. Hey, you know what? You work in a machine shop. You just cut the top right off.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Boom. Fascinating. Outstanding. And thank you.
Thank you. So, next question. Do you have any anxiety over coming to GeeklyCon and being in the spotlight for this panel? And if so, how do you deal with it?
So, this year, not so much. Not because I had about a sip of Maker's Mark, but no, like last year, I would say, it was my first time hosting a panel and like sitting in front of people. I had not done it before, but since then, you know, with all of the other recordings we do for like GeeklyInc Random Encounters and SHU and BCAG, which we don't do live, but what else have we done? And the PAL stuff, but you'll find about that later. You know, you just kind of get used to it. Even if the crowd's not physically there, you know they're listening, you know they're watching. So I changed my mic setup at home so it doesn't sit on the table. So when I bang on the table, which I typically do, it's not a problem anymore. I'm very conscious about that kind of stuff. But I did theater in high school and stuff, and like after a while, you just kind of forget that the audience is there. You're not doing it for them. No, not in this interview show. No,
I'm doing it
no,
for
you're not
me.
doing it for you and me. It's both of
No,
us. It's
just
you
me.
and me. Fine, I'm doing it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Gwynn, it's all for you.
I know.
So, but you know, I do remember when I first had like speaking lines in high school when I would do acting, and like I would almost like pass out backstage with anxiety because I'm a huge nerd, and you know, these are people who paid money to sit and watch high schoolers do Pride and Prejudice or Twelfth Night or some stupid one-act play that was directed by me. And if I like forgot a line, as soon as I was off stage, I would just like beat myself up about it, like just nonstop. But you know, if you just kind of roll with the punches, just kind of loosey-goosey, you know, who cares? As long as everybody else has fun, then it's not a big deal. Even if it's not perfect, it can still be a good time.
Oh, for sure.
Gwynn, on the podcast Good Looks, Bad Books, what subject matter have you not read about or discussed on the show that you would want to?
That's tough. We have discussed a lot.
Yes. I didn't think nanites would come so soon. I also didn't think they would come so soon in the run of the show.
I mean, you know, with Codina and me, you're always going to get them coming.
Yes.
Very quick.
And coming back for more.
And coming and coming.
And never going, but always too soon. Other way around.
I think I'm surprised we haven't seen any zombies.
Got it!
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
Oh, yep. Cody Smut. I don't know. We've seen so much.
Does Cody Smut Corner count as, just between you and me, does it count as canon for the show?
I think we have to since he's a host.
He wasn't at first.
I know, but he came on so quick. And, you know...
And you can't get rid of him.
I know.
Impossible.
Like an STD.
I mean, I wouldn't have gone that far, but sure. I understand what you're saying. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what's the best or most interesting thing that's happened in your life since last GeeklyCon?
Just last week, 8 days ago, Mollie moved in with me. So there was a lot of preparations going into it. We'd been talking since September of last year about it, and just working it out with her job and moving from Washington State to DC, and then with everything else going on, it just took a while for us to work out the logistics, and it just got to a point where it was like, all right, we're just gonna make it happen. So it was maybe a month ago the plan was finalized, and we are now cohabitating. The next challenge is on Friday, this coming Friday. All her stuff gets delivered, and then we have to fight over what we keep and what we get rid of. So that'll be fun.
Yes. I heard that you bought her a plane ticket back there instead of back to Chicago, so that you guys had to.
That was part of it. Well, it was I was working on it because I bought the tickets in March. The assumption was that by then it will have worked out, and then it turned to a point where it was like, well, you have to come back because I bought a ticket. It's not refundable. But it's not. I mean, we're not fully done. She's got to go back to Chicago for a couple weeks just to finish up work actual, and then who knows what the future holds.
Hopefully good things.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully good things. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to wish bad things on myself. I'm not a masochist. Creep.
I am, but...
Hurt me, Daddy. Hey, Gwynn. You've got a lot of expertise in this field, so I felt it was appropriate to ask you and to share with our lovely audience here. But what are some tips you can give to the listeners about butt care?
Okay, first, butt care.
I have a notepad or something? I don't have a notepad.
Here.
You know what? I got about 10 extra note cards.
Perfect. So first thing you want to do, you want to know what you want to do with your butt. Do you like to get spanked? Get someone to spank you.
So plan for butt stuff.
Yes, plan for butt stuff. There's always butt stuff.
Oh, hint, always butt stuff.
Yes. Second thing is you've got to learn to love your butt. No
Okay.
matter what shape, what size. You got a flat booty, it's good. You got a big booty, it's good.
Love your butt.
You also, when you shower, you want to wash your butt.
How does one wash their butt?
Okay, so you want to get real deep in there.
Get deep.
Get deep.
Get deep. Like
Just-
finger or it's
Whatever you want. I usually just get deep in that crack.
get
but
deep. Owner's preference. Outstanding.
Also, lotion your butt. You want it to be nice and smooth and moisturized.
Moist butt.
Moisturized.
Open bracket. Lotion. Close bracket.
And I think the last and most important thing is you want your butt touched as much as possible.
Stimulate.
So if anyone needs help with that,
I'm still recovering from last year.
it was a good butt touch.
It was more than I was expecting. I'm gonna save those. These are Gwynn's butt tips. Gwynn's butt tips. Okay, cool. Thank you for that, and I will try and use that more in my life.
Good. Get your butt good.
Good butt.
Get your butt right with the Lord.
Right butt.
So far at GC, what's your favorite game that you've played?
Oh, you know what was Fred? Was the game we played yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Fuck it. I'll say the game that I brought. Dude, we played Bears versus Babies.
Oh yeah.
That was the other one, but
The Grizzled.
thank you. But I went with the other one already. I committed.
Okay.
So Bears versus Babies. It's by the guys who do the oatmeal and did Exploding Kittens. So what it is you build a monster, a bear or other, and you fight and devour babies. Whoever devours the most points worth of babies wins. It's super easy, quick to learn, and I had a blast playing it. It was pretty quick too.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting combinations of bears you can make, with, like dick hands.
The not safe for work pack is essential.
Yeah, boobs that bite.
Oh.
If you have a copy of the game, I accidentally have an extra copy of the not safe for work pack. Just let me know. But yes, fun game. Enjoyed it. 10 out of 10.
I'll look it up.
Oh, also the box is furry.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hey, Gwynn, what is your relationship with minions like?
Well, you want to fuck them.
Okay. We're not going to get into how. I feel like that's another podcast. I feel like it's your podcast.
That's my answer. We need more minions on GLBB.
Mo minions on the GLBB.
Yes. No, I love them because everybody hates them.
But they got their own movie, so they can't all hate them.
Somehow, I think everybody does.
Raise your hand if you hate minions. It's like half. I mean, a little, yeah, about half. So you know, who loves minions? Some. We got about 8. So that's not bad. I appreciate that.
Yeah, not too bad.
Gwynn, do you have one more?
Yes, I've got
Outstanding.
plenty
If
more.
you have any more, I mean, I'd say this is we'll go with this the last one because I only prepared 5 questions for
Oh,
you.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I need a list of your top 5 butts.
Well, as we talked about, we have to love our butts, so I have to at least make mine somewhere on the list. I'll start with 5. My butt is number 5.
Good.
I have a lot of experience with that butt. I spent a lot of time with it. I've looked at it. I've gotten in there.
You've cleaned it.
Wash your butt. Check. I think I met Josh yesterday. I'm sorry, on Thursday for the first time. Josh has a pretty good butt. It's not like a big butt, but it's like a solid butt.
I'm fine with number 4. I made the list. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a good butt.
Check it out.
I think Ivana's gonna probably go with 3. She got that mom butt.
She got
that mom butt.
It's great.
It's a good butt. I mean, I feel like I haven't seen it yet, but I feel like I've gotten close to seeing it a lot of times.
I saw it
up
a couple
close and
nights
personal.
ago. It's good.
She flashed Molly like the other day. Like she was like, "Can I show your girlfriend my boobs?" I said, "Okay." I mean, she's out to steal my girl. That's all I know. Okay, yeah, fine. I'm not big into sharing. We have an extra bedroom though, if you want. Yeah. Molly's gonna be number 2. Sorry. I've spent a lot of time with that butt too. It's a good butt. It's a good butt.
It
I
is.
put my mouth on it. Not the whole. But you know who's got the best butt?
Who?
Tim Lanning's got the best butt. Tim, can you come up and just do a little? Can you just? Thank you. Just for the crowd. Can you lift up your shirt a little bit? Just so that- Thank you. Yeah. It's much bigger than a guy his size should be.
It's been great since I first saw it in Louisville.
Just watch him walk up some steps.
I always get behind him.
Gwynn, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure once again to have you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
This next guest has been literally begging to be on the show for over a year now. Ever since previous to the last live show, when he first heard about it, I'm looking at him, but he doesn't care. And so I invited him because of his lifestyle choices. We haven't been able to record throughout the year leading up to now, but please welcome Mike Urban to the stage. Let's get you in there. All right.
Hello, how are you?
Mike Urban. Mike Urban, I don't know how much everybody knows about you and where you live and all that, but as somebody who lives in the most remote parts of the world, what tips do you have to help people survive an internet blackout?
An internet blackout?
Yes.
Or you mean like in an internet desert?
If I was to lose the internet, how do I cope?
Candles? Probably sacrificing something to Satan, I would say.
Okay.
Next step would probably be crying.
Well, that's usually step one. Proxy server, host can't be resolved. Or
No, I mean,
proxy server error 404.
Yeah, after that you can check your router, I suppose.
But what do you do, given your limitations, to occupy yourself when the internet is not accessible to you?
Well, there's an Amish storyteller that lives down the road.
Okay.
She's really nice as long as you bake her a pie and, give her time with your children. Don't know what she does.
How will I know how to make a pie if I can't get on the internet to get a recipe?
You have to borrow her cookbook, and then she makes you give her some collateral, like, I don't know, the shirt off your back or whatever. It's kind of weird. It's a strange place I live in.
It is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amish storyteller.
All right, so I'm all about making you feel good after Gwen just took you down a few pegs.
No, she didn't.
So.
I feel better. I feel good.
Okay, so
What's that fruit punch?
tell me a story where you were embarrassed about something that happened, something big in public, but somehow it affected your life in a positive way.
Embarrassing story. God, I've lived such a privileged life. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Well, we already talked about when I was on theater. I definitely remember messing up a line. And actually, no, that's a bad one. That's not a good one. At my first ship, I'm in the Navy. Hi. At my first ship, I was sitting in an ops intel briefing, and I had been there for about 3-4 weeks at that point. The captain looks over at me after one of the presentations and said, "Ensign Morris, do you know what this thing means?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Can you explain for us?" I said, "Sir, I have no idea what it means." So, what I learned was, if somebody outranks you or they're somehow more important than you, maybe be straight up and honest with them, because they might call you on your bullshit. So I've learned that it is better to be more educated and more prepared to answer very specific questions, maybe research ahead of time, instead of just bullshitting your way through life, which served me up until about 3 weeks into my first ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I go with that.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Mike, if Christopher Walken and George Lucas were driving through Los Angeles, discussing the finer details of imperial versus metric measurements with regards to the naming of hamburgers, what would that sound like?
Could you repeat the question?
If Christopher Walken and George Lucas were driving through Los Angeles discussing the finer details of imperial versus metric measurements with regards to naming hamburgers, a la Pulp Fiction, what would that sound like?
Well, George, you need to weigh the hamburger by kilos. It only makes sense here. Do that. It's so hard.
That's the tips for butts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a car.
It's been a long
Royale
time.
with cheese. Royale with cheese. Royale with cheese.
I do not have that memorized. Matthew, what you're asking me here is impossible.
So when are we going to do Pulp Fiction on Sacred Cows tonight?
When are we going to do Pulp Fiction on Sacred Cows tonight?
Because I feel like we need to do this.
It is a gaping hole in our library. Just like other gaping holes we've talked about.
Why are you smacking the table?
Oh, sorry. Bad podcast etiquette. I don't know. We'll talk about it November. How's that sound for you? You better be ready.
Fine.
Okay.
Now I'm mad.
I'm sorry.
Ask me a question.
If you could be best friends with a panda, what would you do together and why? Describe in detail.
I can't tell you how many videos I've watched of like the caretakers in like zoos that have like the little pandas like crawling all over them. They have to like pick them up and like put them somewhere, and then they'll have to go grab another one, move it, and the other ones just keep moving and getting out of the places they're supposed to be and stuff. I feel like it'd be like not a battle royale per se, but it'd be a lot like that, where I have to just constantly pick up these adorable creatures, put them somewhere, and then just rotate through a set of like 3 or 4 of them until I'm so tired and pass out, and they just crawl on me and fall asleep.
So you would have many pandas as your best friend, and you wouldn't have just one? Which one would be the best?
If I had one, I would probably just like feed it bamboo.
Okay.
And like scratch it behind the ears.
What would you name it?
Mushu?
That's appropriate. Not really.
I thought they were all named after Chinese food. General Tso.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Okay.
Yeah. I'd do that. All right. We are here enjoying this GeeklyCon, Dante's Inferno edition, where we celebrate a bit of nerd geek culture. I want to discuss a classic board game with you. I enjoy Clue. While you find out where, with what, and by whom Mr. Body was killed, why do you think he was killed, assuming that the movie is not canon?
So we have to make something up here, right?
No, I'm asking you.
Okay. Oh, well.
I'm not making anything up. I'm asking you the question.
Why was he killed? Well, I mean, he's so killable. I mean, his name is Mr. Body.
He's not Mr. Living.
Right. And he's not in a zombie movie, so it's just not going to do itself. You have to make it happen. So he was asking for it, really. I mean, he had a party, too.
And he had that, you know what, you're right, because he's got that big house with the trap door, or the
Fight
secret
the power.
passages.
Yeah.
I mean, who has a conservatory, and a ballroom,
No kidding.
and a billiards room? You're right.
And a library.
Fuck that guy.
Why didn't they just push him off his ladder in the fucking library? It's so much easier.
Well,
Less
because
messy.
all they had was a rope, candlestick, revolver, knife, wrench, lead pipe. Any other ones? Schnauzer.
He tried to release the dogs.
He could not let the dogs out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. If you could be good at any skill that you're not currently good at, what would it be and why?
So I've always wanted to play an instrument. I took piano lessons growing up, and I was kind of like forced into it, as one is when your older sister is also forced into it. You kind of, as the younger brother, you have to kind of go because, you know, mom's driving her, so you have to go as well. So I ended up taking piano lessons, and I hated it because I was forced to doing it. But around 14, I started listening to just like classical music, and I love the full-bodied sound of the cello. And I would love to learn how to play the cello.
What's your favorite cello song? If you could pick one.
It's a Bach song, but I cannot remember what it's called.
Hum a few bars?
I'll just pull it up. Is it this one? Oh.
Notably used in Evangelion.
Evangelion I heard watched the first time when I was 14. That's where it came from. Surprise! But and that's Yo-Yo Ma's rendition of it, and it's very good. So that is my answer. I would love to learn how to play the cello.
Okay. All right.
I think it is a respectable skill. I'm not gonna do anything helpful for people. I'm just gonna play a musical instrument. Hey, Mike, you are known as a bit of an animal person, and I understand that you run a bit of a zoo at your home.
Yes.
Could you please tell me who's a good boy, and why?
All right. Let's see. I'm going to go with my dog, Diego. He's a good boy. Because he runs up to my little, almost 1-year-old son, and he likes to lick him on the face and not, like, eat his face off. I suppose that's a positive quality. He also plays ball with him and doesn't give it back, so that's a good boy thing. Because Marty wouldn't know what to do with it if he got it, you know. Let's see. He doesn't go around peeing on things, although if you're into that, you know, then fine with it. Let's see. He's actually a trained service dog, so he can open doors, which means we don't leave him anywhere where doors are.
So wait, like doorknobs? Can he like open a doorknob?
He used to be trained to do a regular doorknob, but you know, you don't use it, you lose it. But he can do like that door. So in this hotel,
handle.
he'd just be wherever. You know, that'd be kind of fun for GeeklyCon, right, guys?
He would definitely be able to rescue us from what is this hell?
Yeah, yeah.
This what is
Also, even though my wife is a dog trainer, it's a little known fact that when we're in the privacy of our own home, we give our dogs voices, surprise,
Oh.
yeah, and sort of try to talk about what they think of us. And we had my nephews convinced for about 5 years that the dogs could talk at our house, and they were wondering why dogs couldn't talk anywhere else.
Outstanding. Thank you for that.
All right. What is your favorite movie podcast, and where can you download it?
Let's see what movie podcasts I have on my device here. Movie podcast.
You son of a gun.
Are they gonna do movies on Love to Hate? Break. Nika's not here, is she? Let's fuck them. Oh, they talk about movies on Podcat, I think. That's a pretty good one. You're a Wizard, Harry. They talk about a movie or two. Maybe 3 by now. Top 5 of Death. Oh, Top 5 of Death talks a lot about movies. I really like them. If you want, I have Smack Talk Showdown, if you want to play that. I brought it with. Not here. Don't forget here. That'd be weird. Oh, you know what? Sacred Cows Tonight's good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You know, it used to just be called Sacred Cows Pod, or Sacred Cows or something. And, you know, it was great. And then they, like, went away for a while, and then they, like, rebranded and shit. And they had, like, they started doing, like, TV shows now, too. They've really lost their, you know, their homegrown
Yeah.
side.
You know, TV shows
but-
like Power Rangers and
Yeah,
Animaniacs.
Animaniacs. Who the hell would want to talk about Animaniacs
I
for
know,
an hour
right?
and a half?
Right? Spielberg's the worst.
That motherfucker. But no, I'd say you know, Sacred Cows Tonight. They're mostly a movie podcast, more so than those other ones. But they I get them on iTunes,
Okay.
where I hear that you can leave a 5-star rating and review, and if you like and retweet their tweets, you can be one of their bovine boosters.
Yeah, we might even mention you on the show sometimes.
Yeah, or you can be on the show.
Yeah. Just
All you have to do is say, hey, why haven't you done this movie yet? And eventually they'll be like, November? And you're like, I don't know, November is 4 months away.
Some people are such bullies.
God. I forgot I only did 4 questions for you because you wouldn't let me ask you about hentai. So, hey, can you like share a picture with us of what you looked like when you had hair?
Well, I used to be called non-fro in high school because they didn't want to say I had a fro because it wasn't quite tight enough. But I definitely had like long, flowing, curly hair that kind of poofed up in Kramer. You picture Kramer? Yeah, that's kind of what my hair was like, except I really could do less than what Kramer did. And then one day when I turned 19, it fell out. And I was in the shower like, hey, okay, watching my, oh my God! And the funny thing is that, well, this isn't funny. This is a little tragic, but it gets funny. It gets
I like
funny.
to end on tragic notes.
Yeah, let's get on
Okay.
that. So, my mother, she had cancer, and when I was in college, so I was 19 in college, right? And I had to take her to chemotherapy. My dad worked and things like that. You can't take yourself and things like that. So, when I first decided to shave my head, because I was, you know, when I was 19, I was like hey, I'm gonna try to make this work. Let's look it back. Oh my God, what the fuck was I doing? And then like girls were like, well, look at that guy, in college, and then I go to shave it off and do it the first few times, and I take my mom to chemotherapy, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, waiting for her to come out, because sometimes she liked to go by herself, sometimes she wanted company, but this was a by herself day, and actually she was a really cool mom, used to take her laptop and play StarCraft while she was in chemotherapy. So I'm waiting out there, and this old lady comes up to me, and she's like, I am so sorry.
That's what happens when you hit the table.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm just here supporting my mother. And she's like, what? You don't have cancer? And like, no, seriously, I'm doing great. Well, I mean, not great. Could be better, but it's fine. So, long story short, wear a hat if you're ever bald when you take people to chemotherapy. So.
Thank you for opening up about that. It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please, one more.
All right. Have you ever seriously considered a career in show business? And if so, what would you like to do?
So I don't know how much people know about me because I don't really talk a lot about myself, especially on this show. But so I did theater in high school, and I started doing it in college. And I found that once you go from the loosey-goosey high school theater to college, where people are like trying to get degrees and shit in theater, it becomes a lot less fun. So I kind of dropped it. And I'm not really too upset about that or anything. But around the same time, I got into Dungeons and Dragons 3.5. No, that was
Sorry.
That was hand to God, but sure. But before then, I used to just like sit in front of the mirror and just like do voices and stuff, and I would love to do voice acting. I love making funny voices, trying to like figure out how to like make my voice sound different in weird ways, and sometimes I can make a character based off of that, or I steal somebody else's voice and kind of do the same thing. So I imagined, because I watch a lot of cartoons, or I used to watch a lot more than I do now, but and I loved how you could look at a voice actor's filmography and be like, oh my God, they were in this, and they were in this. I remember this show. I didn't know that was them. And, some of the voice actors are pretty recognizable, like, what's his last name? Benjamin. The guy who does Archer,
H. John Benjamin,
thank you. So, like, super distinct voice. He doesn't really do anything else other than that, but, like, he's made a whole career off of the one voice. But at the same time, you also have Rob Paulson, who has done hundreds of voices for incredibly iconic characters, or Frank Welker, and they're such like they seem like cool people too.
Yeah,
and I don't mind showing up doing like 3 hours of work and going home.
Well, do you find that when you do voices that you end up doing the voice of somebody else's impression of somebody else? So like when I was doing Christopher Walken earlier, I'm actually doing a Kevin Pollak's Christopher Walken, and not as real as Christopher Walken.
So. Absolutely, and that mostly comes from watching too much early 90s Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So, like, my George Bush is very Dana Carvey George Bush. Senior. I'm not going to do it, wouldn't be prudent.
Yeah.
I will not eat broccoli.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, exactly. So, you just kind of, you emulate what you connect with, and that's not necessarily the celebrity or the person, it's the person who's making you laugh doing their voice.
Right. Well, I mean, guys, if you haven't, I don't know how many of you listen to Sacred Cows podcast, but like he does a really good Captain Hook from Hook, with Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. And so there's a great skit of him with Hook and Smee in the very beginning of the episode. Listen to it. It is a hilarious skit.
I think it's the only voice I did.
It is the only voice you did. Otherwise, you've been pretty much like
just me.
Well, and there was Matman.
Matman,
the Mad Signal. So,
all right, Mike. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll have to do this again sometime. Maybe I'll ask you more racy questions. But everybody, thank you, Mike.
Oh wow! When you bump the table, that's a cacophony. Next guest. You may have heard of this one. I'm familiar with them from the GeeklyInc Random Encounters feed, where I used to work with them. They go by Michael P. DiMauro. So I'm going to skip to a later question.
I actually wanted to be on last time, but
I believe you. Yeah. So speaking of which, why is the first time you're on the show, and why do you hate me?
that's a great question. I believe last year you asked me to come on the show, and I said I would, and then you never talked to me again.
So I think what happened was I said, "Are you still in?" and you never responded to me. So I had to play second fiddle, or I'm sorry, he didn't play second fiddle, but I asked my second choice, which was Tim Lanning, to come on the show. But you know what? And he burned me hard by asking me about 9/11, about it being an inside job. So guess what? Guess who's not allowed on the show anymore?
That leads to my first question, which is
why do you, no,
what
you
is
didn't,
the,
you
what
didn't
is
say
the
why do
melting
you,
point of steel?
Is that actually your question? Because you
No,
still haven't told me
it's
why
not.
you hate me.
I don't. I love you, Matthew.
Oh, is it like it's like tough love? Is that it?
I mean, it's I like to have fun.
I mean, you're not old enough to be my dad, as far as I know.
You have to check the math on that, but
Yeah.
but no, I adore you. I usually we have a special kind of love, or maybe I will see you for the first time in 3 months and flip you off, but then I'll hug you later.
Yeah, and you won't kiss me or anything, but
I don't want Carly to get jealous.
how could she get jealous? Your beard is scratchy.
Your face is smooth.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. Did I answer your question?
I feel better now.
Okay. And do I get one now?
Yes. Yes.
Why are you trying to cause a rift between me and Tim Lanning?
Well, the honest to God truth is I believe that in order for you to better yourself, you need to have some sort of competition. And really, there's only one other person who is in the running with you.
Oh.
But they couldn't be here today. So I have called upon Tim Lanning to step up to the plate, as he always does, because he is a true gentleman.
Thank you.
And I try to better. You're trying to get better through competition.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're by yourself, you get complacent, you get lazy. And that's what's happening to our country right now.
Okay, great.
Thank you. You created a rich world through the Drunks and Dragons podcast full of wondrous characters. Of these characters, who do you ship other than Jaludra?
I would say, it changes all the time, which is probably why I would have to go with Brip, Rap, and Tug. It's a very recent one.
Yeah.
I think that their relationship is probably magical, and I hope that we get to explore more.
Do we really know how Brip Rap feels about Bones, though?
I've got a pretty good idea.
Outstanding. Well, I look forward to that fanfic. Someone. GLBB.
Got it.
Thank you, Cody.
Okay.
That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a 3-part question.
Okay. It only counts as one. I maybe.
Okay.
See how I feel.
Do loose lips sink ships? And are there things that if you told me them, you would have to kill me? And as a follow-up, how would you kill me?
So, yes, loose lips sink ships. That is part of what we call OPSEC, Operation Security. It is unclassified information that, when compiled, could lead to more classified information or more secret information. So, The idea is that you don't tell people your ship schedule because then suddenly the bad guys know where you are going. We don't want that. If I told you something I wasn't supposed to, I would still not be allowed to kill you. Believe it or not. However, that doesn't mean that your phone wouldn't be bugged and that your emails wouldn't be, shared with the NSA. They got a special relationship with Google and Amazon, if you know what I mean. I would have muted this, but I forgot. If I had to kill you, how familiar are you with the movie Full Metal Jacket?
I'm vaguely familiar with it.
So what I would do is I would get some goons, be them Dark Blades or Norhalians, and we would take socks full of dice. And the biggest and strongest of us would hold you down, stuff your mouth with like a bar of soap, and then we would just beat the ever-living shit out of you with, socks full of dice until you died from blunt force trauma.
All right, well, I think
Hypothetically speaking.
I think we've found my new kink.
Hey, way up there. Michael DiMauro. I saw, people are calling you thrifty all through the your Wizard Harry thing earlier, and I wanted to correct them, but I didn't want to cause a scene. If you were a god in America who would fight other gods for the worship and devotion of subjects, which would in turn imbue you with power through their worship, what would you be the god of?
I'd be the god of.
Yes, if you were a god in America who would fight other gods for worship of devout subjects who would in turn imbue you with power through worship.
I mean, so are we just talking like general, like American godsy kind of?
I didn't say American gods, I said God in America, but yes.
I mean, I feel like the most powerful thing would be the internet, right?
Yeah, but that god already exists.
I have to be a new god?
Yeah. Well, you could be an old god, but not one that already exists.
So you want me to invent a god
Yes.
right here?
Yes.
On the spot?
It's like you've never invented something before. You've never created a world in your mind.
I guess we'll go back to Gwynn. I'll be the god of butts.
Okay. People love butts.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's apparently extremely popular.
Yeah. We do a lot of stuff for I can get behind that. I would worship a butt. Unintentional pun. Yes.
All right, we back.
You didn't know it happened until someone laughed. Yes.
We're back to me.
Yes, and.
Okay. All right, great. I've got a lot. I've got like 40.
I said 5, but sure.
I know. I don't want to touch the tail. What is your most harrowing tale of your time on the sea?
My most harrowing time at sea. Almost hit a couple of boats. Our ship almost hit a couple of boats. Very important distinction. So I would say it was There We Were, no shit, 2013 in the Arabian Gulf. I want to say it was in the spring because it was before Ramadan that year. And we were out on patrol, and an Iranian IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard vessel came up within like 200 yards of us, and we were like, all right, what do? We went through pre-planned responses. So we were like, all right, flak jackets on, helmets on, get the flares ready, start recording bridge to bridge, radio, telephone, get the ship just ready to fight. And, the guns already had, ammo on station, so we were ready to run out there and man them if we needed to. So I'd say that was probably the most harrowing.
Wow. That sounds scary.
Luckily, I wasn't one of those ships that had, missiles shot at it, so that was good.
Yeah.
Comparatively. Yeah.
That's
So-
similar to my work.
Yeah. Web page design can be real bad.
Oh, it's very harrowing.
Yeah. Those professors are assholes.
They are.
Michael. May I call you Michael?
Sure.
Okay. God of Butts. You are known for being a host on the hit show You Are a Wizard Harry Potter on the Geekly Incorporated LLC podcast network.
Okay.
The show discusses a popular series of books about young wizards going to magic school. What do you think wizards do in the bedroom to spice up their love life?
That is a thing that they do not explore in the books, but I mean, they got to be getting freaky with that magic, right?
Yeah.
Like
The wand just way up there.
way up there. I mean, they've got to have all sorts of anti-pregnancy spells and magic hands.
I mean, do you think there's like a wizard sex dungeon somewhere, and they have like very secret
there
spells?
is probably a wizard sex dungeon somewhere.
So I think it's on Diagon
Not in
Alley.
Harry Potter, it's probably in St. Louis somewhere. So yeah.
So I mean, can you give us a little more?
Are you just trying to get me to like turn you on right now? Is that what you want? What kind of podcast is this?
It's Maker's Mark. No?
No.
No more? Okay, fine.
I just.
It's fine. It's fine. But you know it's happening.
Of course, it's happening. It's
The
like
Weasleys must be all over it because they got what, like 8 kids?
It's like a bunch of teens in a school where,
Well, you don't want to explore with the stuff they teach you there. That's not safe. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. That was a great question.
Hey, I thought it was great. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, we're still doing this. Okay.
Yes, you're still here.
What's the one thing that people always misunderstand about you?
Well, we've already touched on it, and it's the importance that I put on defining what is a boat and what is a ship. It's partially about the size. It's how it handles the seas when you turn.
They're
and
the
people
same though, right?
No, they're not. They're not, Michael. They're not the same. Because in a boat, when you turn, the top goes with the way you're turning. When you're in a ship, it turns the opposite way.
Is that really what it is?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't think I'd actually learn something here tonight.
You didn't learn some sweet butt tips?
Well, okay, no, that was extremely informative.
So yes, that's what people misunderstand about me, is that how that is important. Because words matter. Words are important. That's why we have a new press secretary.
Very topical.
If you were on the Blunt Force podcast, what kind of monster person would you be, and what would you sound like? Am I saying that right?
What's the Blunt Force podcast?
Is it Blunt Force? Am I saying that right?
Perfect. You nailed it.
Thank you. It's hosted by the Adam Bash of at Badam Fash fame.
Let's see, what would I be? I think I would be like some sort of maybe like a hammerhead shark kind of monster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd probably have like a real, like I talk like a real kind of New Yorker kind of thing, and that's what I do.
Forget about it.
And forget about it. I'm under the water.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
That's very good to know about your future prospects on the Blunt Force podcast.
Okay. All right. Great. Let's see. I've got so many.
Imagine if it was the last one you got to ask me.
Okay. Is what you're doing now what you always wanted to do when you were growing up?
No.
All right. Thank you.
No, because I had very little passion growing up for like the what do I do when I grow up. I was a very in the moment person. Like I enjoyed doing things like playing video games and hanging out with my friends. So, no, I didn't imagine being in the military was going to be one of those things that was going to be on my list. I always imagined, not that I wanted to it, that I would be just a businessman. So, you know, wear a suit and tie to work and, you know, paperwork, yes, so in pile, out pile, you're fired, you're hired. You know, like that guy from that one show who fires people. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, yes. So I imagined that's what I was going to do, but up until I actually graduated college, I did not even consider the military as an option. Yeah, if you don't know, I have my undergraduate degree is in German, which is super helpful in 2008 when you don't want to be a teacher. Yeah, so military is where I turned. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Michael, it has been great to have you. I'm sorry I didn't make you cry or that, you know, even get you close from what I could tell. So
I'm crying on the inside.
I thought you were okay. That's good. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you for
Good.
finally letting me come on your show.
We'll stand and we'll pretend like we. Thank you for coming on. Finally. Our last guest is another returnee to the show and needs no introduction. Mollie! Fantastic. So, we just came before here. We were at the podcast panel, and you want some fruit punch with that? That's not a question. And Mollie made me a mum. Ooh. Apparently, this is a Texas thing. Raise your hand if you're from Texas. So, mums, these are real?
Yep.
Okay, good. We saw Google image search. It's like freaking ridiculous. Like as big as your body.
They're a little bit trashier, but you got the spirit of it.
Well, you can only do so much with coffee filters and ribbon.
Fair point.
And Mollie did an excellent job, Joshua.
I'm not complaining, I'm just saying.
I still don't remember your character's name. Eyesore. Isaac. Yeah, okay. That's upside down. Mollie, thank you for coming on the show on such short notice. I told you months ago and you forgot until 2 days ago.
Sorry.
Mollie, what is it like to live with the Matthew M. Morris of at Matthew M. Morris fame?
It's really great. He is a very good, nice gentleman who respects my personal space and
Pretend like I'm not attacking you. pretend like someone in the crowd asked you and I wasn't even in the room. I could leave if that would help. I'll listen to the recording
I'm not
later.
sure. I'm nervous.
All the time?
I mean, I've been kind of anxious about my job, so that hasn't really helped.
Right. Yes. There's been a lot of turmoil at work, but
I'm happy to be in a townhouse. We have a really nice place. I need to speak up.
not for this, for them.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
I'm excited to be on the East Coast because that's where you want to be.
I will be where the job takes me, unfortunately. I hear San Diego's nice. I hear it doesn't get to 104 degrees there. Feels like 114. Oh, sorry. Yes. Did you? Okay. Yeah.
All right, so I'm letting the audience in on a little secret. This is
Oh, is
our
that the Q&A book? Fuck. So I don't even have to answer it, or I actually answer.
You are
Okay, I'm
to
answering you
actually.
questions.
Yes.
Okay. Would
So-
you like? Can you explain that to
Yes.
them?
So at the beginning of the year, I bought this book. It is like 365 questions, 5 years, 1,825 answers. So you record your answer for 5 years, and then you can look back and see what you think. So I've been writing down what
We're kind
Matthew-
of behind.
We're quite behind, but on a whim, I flipped to a page and I wanted to ask this question. So, since you have achieved your lifelong dream of having Michael DiMauro on your show, who do you want to know better?
Who do I want to know better? Fred's not been on yet.
I haven't.
No, you're like because you're a perfect angle. You're like
There's been so
between
many
me and the mic.
episodes.
So I'd say I want Fred on. I'll have Carly on at some point. Jennifer will be on. Not Maddie.
Okay.
Oh, Jonah! I'll have Jonah on.
My life's not interesting anyway.
Mike Lane can come on. I actually really want to have Alex back on. So, fun fact about when I recorded with Alex, if you've heard that, raise your hand if you've heard that. You're all lying. Only 2 people heard it. It was me and Alex. After we finished recording for like an hour and a half, we talked for like another 2 hours after that, like off mic. I learned all kinds of great stuff. What was the was it Persephone the thing, or the pamphlet you sent me?
Oh, the Discordianism? The
Yes.
Eris, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I learned all about Discordianism. It was very exciting. I love chaos now. That's why he wears those damn glasses. I'd have Craig on. I already had Mike McGinnis on. Allie can come on. Cody's not allowed anymore. Maddie, I said no. So maybe if Pete can record, maybe I'd get him. I don't know. And Ashley, I like met her once, but is she here? Oh, that Ashley too. Sorry, I was talking about Pete's wife, but I'd have Ashley on too. Hi, Ash. We call you Ash. So yeah, we had a lot of friends I still need to talk to. Good thing we're getting ready for season 2. Oh, that's right. You. For some reason, I instinctively feel like I need to answer more questions now. We do this like maybe once every 2 weeks, so there's a lot of questions to answer. Mollie, we've discussed this before now, and we're 3 days into GeeklyCon, and you've been surrounded by your friends, but I wanted to have an update on something we discussed. I can't remember how long ago. You brought up the subject, but now I'll ask it to you as a question. What do you think our friends think about you?
That I'm probably really quiet and not very interesting.
So, Mollie, since December, every guest that I have had on Better Know a Geekly, I have asked that very same question to. Specifically, what do you think about Mollie? I have compiled all of the responses to that. And with your permission, I would like to play about 6 minutes worth of audio. And of course, this is your personalized gift for being a third-time member on the show. If you get your thing, I'll clip it for you. But with your permission, I would like to play that audio. And thank you, everyone who was on the show, who said, who I told I was saving this for a rainy day. And now I gotta find it because I had it. I said I was saving it for a rainy day, so I'm just saying it's, well, yeah.
I think we're in a bad place enough that we could use some cheering up.
Yeah, after all that mean stuff I said to Michael.
Which one?
I should. I'll have to search for it by the name. There we go.
He's one of the most kind, trusting,
Hopefully you can hear it. So loud as I can get it.
Warm people I've ever met in my entire life. I live in Michigan and she in Chicago, and we were trying to get a way to get out to Portland the cheapest as possible. So we needed to either fly out of Grand Rapids, which is kind of close to where we are, which would be way more expensive, or fly out of Chicago, which would be way cheaper. So I was looking at Geekly's in Chicago and kind of asking around, like, hey, how can we solve this problem? Because we don't want to park at the airport, because that's going to cost us an assload of money, and we're not super rich right now. And not only did Mollie give suggestions, she went above and beyond, saying, here's my Metro Pass, here's where you park, here's the street, park right next to my house, everything will be fine, and then when you get back from Portland, when it's because we were going to get back, our plane was going to land like at 2 in the morning. She's like, I'll pick you up from the airport and I'll drive and you sleep at my house, then take off in the morning. It's like, I've had like 4 conversations with you. And like, this is the furthest and most beyond anyone has ever gone for me. Like, even people I know are like, fucking 2 in the morning picking you up, really, bitch? Like on the ball, like offering shit I would never have the guts to ask for. And it was just, it was one of those moments that's like, this is why I love this entire community, is people like Mollie.
Mollie is an amazing person. It's hard to put into words. It's like, she's just like so happy and like little and cute. A little cute, happy person. No, she's amazing. She's like really friendly, and she always has kind words to say to everybody. And yeah, she's one of my favorite people.
I think Molly is kind of a beacon of shining light in the darkest night. I think she is probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. She is one of those people that's constantly concerned that everybody else is enjoying themselves around her, which is something that says a lot for the quality of her character.
Because Molly is legitimately one of the best people I know. I have known Molly for about 3 years now. I first met Molly at GeeklyCon 2014. It was me, Ash Shadowbrook, and Nika Howard all sleeping on like Ash's floor on air mattresses for like a couple days before everybody else showed up. And I think you would be hard pressed to find anybody who doesn't think that Molly is like the best person, like just one of the nicest people I've ever met. I always enjoy talking to her. She is funny and interesting, and we just have a really good time together, and I greatly value our friendship.
Oh, wow. My initial thought is I wish I knew her better, because I've had very limited interaction with Molly. A little bit here and there on Twitter. She's always been great. We're in a Google Hangout together that she's generally pleasant in. The first time I think I met her in person where I really remember was at GeeklyCon. She was in... Okay, good. I'm glad I didn't mix that up. And I think she might have been in Louisville, but when Louisville was my first one. Yeah, Louisville was my first one, and I went with a buddy that I knew from Kentucky, and I pretty much only hung out with him and some tertiary other people because I was a little uncomfortable. I was really new to the community. So actually in Portland, I got to spend more time. I went by myself. I branched out, and she was definitely one of the people that I spent some time hanging out with, and she was great. I mean, one of the nicest, most genuine people I've ever met. Laughed at all my jokes, which I'm always appreciative of. You know, a sympathy laugh goes a long way. So no, she's wonderful, and it's one of those things. The great thing about this community, which you touched on, is we have friends, you know, all over the place that we can get instant access to through the internet or whatever. But one of the downside of that is you have these people that you'd like to be able to spend more time with.
I like Molly a lot. So Molly was the first person that I really interacted with at GeeklyCon original, GeeklyCon OG. And we kind of walked in and we were late, but late in the spirit of the event. So everyone was already in the gaming cafe playing games, and we walked in and it was like, hey, everybody. And so Jess and I came in, and Molly was like, hey, how are you guys? In her cute accent. And we were like, we're good. Do you want to play a game? And she just was like, yep, let's do it. And then we played Takenoko, which is a fantastic board game. Molly is, you know, one of the 3 or 4 people that I've spent the most time with among our internet friends. And she's, you know, I have nothing bad to say about Molly. She's been very kind to me. She has picked me up from the airport as well. She donated her time to me, and I like Molly a lot.
I think she's awesome. She's absolutely hilarious. She's really kind-hearted, which is... It's odd to see in this society somebody that actually, like, is that nice. Like, I've never... Well, she has, you know, she can make sort of mean, but they're always in jest. So, I like Molly a lot. She's a fantastic person.
So that was some of our friends, their thoughts. Molly, you are the nicest person I've ever been with, and even when I'm angry, you just always know how to make me calm down and just make all those problems wash away. It's been such a pleasure to have been able to date you now for 15-ish months, depending on if you count internet dating as dating. So I wanted to ask you one more question, if I could. Mollie, Kimberly McBreen, would you do the honor of letting me marry you? So I got to ask you like 4 questions there. So.
Mollie, what's your next question?
So Ivana convinced me that the question that he was going to ask me was, can we do butt stuff? I'm glad that wasn't the question.
By the way, you can find anything on Etsy. It's a little Gryffindor ring box. Think we're good? Thank you for coming out to Better Coach. And as always, I love you.